Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Heart to Heart. My name is Madiha and we're joined by Sister Masuma Jaffer, who is a resident Alima at Stanmore Mosque, and she's also got qualifications in counselling. She's counselled hundreds of couples, families and individuals on various topics and issues. Heart to Heart is a show that is all about our viewers. You can email in with your problems, any issues or topics that you're facing at work, whether it's school, at home or at university, and Sister Masuma will try her best to help you tackle them on a spiritual as well as a practical level. You can email in on heartttoheart@safirtv.com. Thank you so much for joining us, Sister Masuma.
Thank you.
Once again, we've had many people email in with lots of questions and problems they're facing. I've got a gentleman here who has said that a few years ago, I met a sister who I wished to marry. We both went to the same university, and when I approached her, we were both 20. I asked her father for his daughter's hand in marriage, but he basically told me to get lost and earn some money, which I did. I now have a successful business, and when I went back to her father with a proposal, he still said I wasn't good enough. It's to do with the fact that his daughter is in medical school and I am but a lowly business owner. Words have not been invented yet to describe how crushed I am. How many more hoops does he want me to jump through until I am good enough? It's really sad.
Wow.
Yeah. Really sad.
Okay. I think this. Okay. Well, let's break it down.
Mm-hmm.
So he approached her when they were at the same university. Obviously, they were doing different courses at the university because she's a medical student.
Yeah.
He obviously finished his course and then went on to
be a business owner.
Business owner. So he approached her at 20, and then he went to talk to her father, which was a beautiful way of doing it, the right way to do it. The father was not that helpful.
Yeah.
Then, but he did say to him to go and earn some money, so he did that. I'm just wondering what role the girl plays in all of this. Has she told her parents that she wants to marry this young lad? Has she told them how she feels, or can she tell them? Is she in a situation where she's able to, let her parents know how she feels? Is she waiting for him? For him to have finished his degree and got a business, it must be a few years on. They must be thinking about marriage for her. Is she seeing other, is she being, introduced to other people? I'm just wondering what role she has to play in all of this, if any. Is he still in touch with her? Does she still want to marry him? There's so many questions in my mind.
Yeah.
I think, how he plays it will really depend on how committed she is. How much she wants this. If he's trying to prove it's amazing that he's trying to prove himself to her father. But if this is something that she really, really wants, then, and she makes that clear to her parents, then it's just a matter of, and it's how you say it. So it's, I want to marry this person. I've got to know him, and and actually say what she likes about him. So the fact that he's got morals, the fact that he's dedicated, the fact that he's religious, whatever it is that appeals to her, so that her parents know that she's actually thought it through and it's not just sort of blind love.
Yeah.
And then also tell her parents that I will not go down this route until you're happy and comfortable about it. But I'm going to wait until you are. And you need to tell us what it is that we need to do to prove to you that this is what we want. So maybe she needs to take a little bit more ownership of the situation.
Yeah. It shouldn't all be on the boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or is it that maybe she, again, just thinking of lots of different ways of looking at this, maybe he did approach her and she didn't know how to say no to him, and she knew that her father would, so maybe she left it to her father to say. I'm just giving different perspectives.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And does she need her father's approval?
Yes. She does
even
need
if
she needs
even if he's a good, pious, religious man, and her husband,
permission.
And her father's stopping her from marrying this man for no reason except for finances, or because he doesn't think he's good enough, or
then she needs to bring in her grandfather, her uncles, some males within her family to sort of counteract what her father's doing and actually explain to him why she wants to marry him. But I think, even if he is, again, a lot of the times I think parents have an idea of what they want for their children. And a lot of the times it's very skewed. So, for example, he needs to have studied to a certain level. He needs to be this rich. He needs to have this, this, this. Really, if he has akhlaq, morals, and he has religion, then you don't need anything else. Everything else will come into play. If he hasn't got money now, they'll make money, and if they don't, it's not a big deal. If the society needs for people to have all different jobs. So yes, your daughter may be a doctor, but you need businessmen as well. You need dustbin collectors. You need, professors. You need cleaners. You need teachers. You need lots of different. That's how society works. So to look down on a halal earning is wrong.
Yeah.
The fact that he's actually earning is what they should be looking at, and risk comes from Allah. If he's trying and he's showing he's trying, that should be enough. So I think rather than him just trying, I think she needs to play a part in it. I think it's important that she talks to her parents, even if it's difficult, because if she shows them that this is what she wants, then they might sort of take a step back and think, oh,
yeah. I think often in our communities we don't feel like we can speak to our parents about issues and topics like this. But if you're at an age where you can or want to get married, then you are an adult and you should be able to have those mature conversations with your parents as well.
You have to, and also it's like she needs to support him as well, because if he's doing all of this
for her,
to prove himself to her father,
it's quite sweet, really. Isn't it?
It's really sweet, and therefore she needs to then come out of her comfort zone and actually say, and it's not being disrespectful, it's actually saying, look, Dad, this is the guy I want to marry, and this is the reasons why I want to marry him. Because again, if you can explain your reasons, then your parents are more willing to listen. If it's just, what they're worried about is you've just fallen for this guy and you're really not looking at anything else.
Yeah.
And that's what they're worried about.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, they probably just want her happiness and the best for her.
Exactly.
So,
and they're seeing that as someone who is maybe as qualified as her, but that's not important to her. And she's the one who's got to live her life and live with this person for the rest of her life. So, if she can explain that to them, yes, this may be important in your eyes, but it's really not important in my eyes. I respect him, and I know he can take care of me, and the fact that he's got, if she can say to them that he's got religion, he's got morals, get to know him, and the fact that I'm not going to marry anyone else except him, but I won't marry him until you're happy about it.
Yeah.
So making them realize that they really have no choice.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she won't disrespect them, and she won't do it when they're not happy about it.
Yeah.
So showing them that respect, but at the same time, showing them that it is her choice, but but there is that that concept of the father's permission is there, because you don't want the girl to be fooled. So if, again, from the father's perspective, if he can see something in this boy that is going to be something that's quite detrimental, or that's dangerous, or that's that's going to be harmful for their daughter, then he can point that out to her, and maybe make her see him in a different light that she's not seen him in, and then she can she may turn around and say, oh, okay, I don't want to marry him, and so let the guy know. I think those conversations need to have to be had.
Yeah, I think a lot of your answers often come back to the fact that people need to have open conversations, and that's what's really important, I think. And I think you're absolutely right about that.
It is.
Thank
you
for
all
that.
to do with communication.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks for that. I think I'm going to move on to the next question. It's quite an interesting one. This person said that, I hope it's okay that I write to you, as I am not a Muslim, but I am in fact a Hindu. The thing is, I've met this wonderful lady who is a Shia Muslim, and I've really fallen for her. But as a Hindu, how can I approach her for marriage? Are Muslim women allowed to marry outside of their faith?
Simple answer, no.
Okay.
As a Muslim woman, you can only marry a Muslim man. So he has the option to revert and become a Muslim. But he needs to do it because he truly believes Islam is the right religion, and not do it for her. Because if he does it for her, then it won't work out, because his expectations will be from her. He will never, well, not never, he will not have the passion towards Islam that is required. That is, that makes you realize how lucky you are to be a Muslim. So he needs to research into Islam. He needs to also find out if she feels the same way about him.
Yeah.
Because he's mentioned that he's fallen for her. Has she fallen for him? Has he had these conversations with her? Has he told her how he feels, and that he's thinking of marriage, and how does she feel? Even if he reverts, would she be comfortable marrying him? There's a whole load of culture issues that come into it as well. Her parents, would they be comfortable with her marrying someone who wasn't born a Muslim, or who's a revert? So all of these things will come into it. It just says she's a Shia Muslim, so we don't know what culture she was born into, and how strong that culture is within herself and within her family. Would he be comfortable with that as well? There are so many things that are there, but if he's looking into a long-term relationship, into marrying her, then he needs to revert. That it's not going to happen otherwise. But and if he does revert, it shouldn't be for the sake of the marriage. It has to be because he truly believes that Islam is the right religion. And maybe again, I truly believe there's nothing random in his universe, and maybe she is the one who has been sent to guide him towards Allah. So through his research, even if he doesn't end up meeting her, it may be that she was just meant to bring him to Islam, and then he'll meet someone else who is going to be the one who brings him even closer to Allah. So it's beautiful, the fact that he cares enough to actually ask and not make a move and not do anything without finding out. I think that's really beautiful, and that's really respectful. And and it shows that he values religion and culture and all of that, which is a brilliant thing to start off with.
Okay, well, I think we should wish this person luck, inshallah, in the journey. Thank you so much for answering that question. I'm going to move on to the next one. I've got a young man here who says, I'm in my mid-20s, male, and currently studying medicine at a prestigious university. The thing is, I was never that strong in my faith, and since undertaking this degree, my belief in the divine is waning. Every humanistic approach to the study of anatomy leads me to question if there was ever a creator. I know it's terrible for me to think this, but I can't get away from these secular ideas, which seems to be affecting the very core of my being. Please help me find my way back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Holy Family. Wow.
It's nice that he's looking to come back, which is nice.
I'm a bit confused because normally when I read anything or watch anything to do with nature,
it brings you closer
medicine,
to
I'm just so gobsmacked in awe of the divine creations and the intricacy of this kind of thing. And maybe
how can it not happen randomly?
Maybe I haven't studied it to obviously this level, but or in a sort of secular approach to it and humanistic approach to it, as he said here. But it would only take me closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I don't know.
I think it's not so much the studies, but the discussions that happen amongst the students in these in universities, where the problem is that we bring our children up without a strong foundation in the aqaid, in the foundation of the religion, in the belief in God and the justice of God, and the belief in the Prophet and the hereafter and so forth. And because they don't have that strong foundation, when they go to university and they do certain things like pray or wear hijab, and they're asked why they do that, they try to answer it from a physical perspective. So, I wear hijab because, I pray so that I can have a connection with my Creator. So why do you pray in Arabic when you don't even speak Arabic? You don't understand Arabic. And and they'll come up with something like, it's for the sake of unity, but you're praying on your own here. So why can't you speak to God, in your own language? Or, they'll come up with something like, but why do you have to pray at a specific time? Why not pray to Him when you feel like praying to Him? And if your understanding of the foundation isn't there, and you're not able to answer these questions, you start questioning yourself, and you start thinking to yourself, why does it have to be like this? Why do I have to pray when I don't feel like it? Why shouldn't I pray when I feel like it? Why should it be words that I don't understand, why shouldn't it be, you know? And all these questions come into your mind, and you start then experimenting, and you start maybe doing these things, and you think, oh yeah, this works better. And slowly you start moving away from what has been prescribed within Islam to do. Now, the problem is not Islam. The problem is your understanding of Islam, and the problem is your understanding of the foundations. And if you understood that it's not, you know, it's not about the concept of God's told you to do this because He requires it, or God's just said, you know what, do it the way you want. It's about Islam itself means submission. So what God wants is this total submission to His will, where you really have no say whatsoever in anything in your life at all. Everything is dictated by God. And when you can submit in that way that you literally become like a slave, then you actually see the rewards of that. It's like, you know, what we say Ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasul. I bear witness that Muhammad is the slave of Allah and the messenger of Allah, the prophet of Allah. It is only when he became the slave that he was brought up by God to become his messenger. If he could not be his slave, then he could not have, you know, earned the right to be his messenger. So to be a slave to a human being is very demeaning. You know, it breaks you. But to be a slave to the Creator would actually make you reach heights that you could never imagine. So, you know, if I can only understand that if I truly understand the Creator to the best of my knowledge, if I have a relationship with the Creator, if I understand the whole concept of justice. You know, a lot of questions come up about the problem of evil. You know, if God is the most loving, and He is the most merciful, and He is and He has all power, you know, He's the omnipotent, He's the omniscient, and all of this, and yet He allows evil to be around. So if you haven't got your foundation and your faith secure.
But it seems to me like this person's saying that it's the actual study of anatomy that's
which doesn't make sense to me. So that's what I'm saying. I don't know whether he's putting it down to the studying of or being around the people that he's studying with. And he's not, because like you said, when you're studying the human body or nature or anything that is created by God, it only brings you closer to Him.
It makes you ask more questions. Exactly. It baffles
it's like,
you.
How can I mean, you think about it, you know, the way that the body works, how can there not be someone who has designed that? You know, if
well, maybe it's a matter of the fact that it's so complicated, and it makes you wonder how a being could make it come into existence.
But wouldn't you know, if you look back, you know, into history, and a person there, if they were told that we could do heart transplants now, there would be no way. You know, it's like, so that I think we know that our knowledge is constantly progressing, and we are getting. So why can there not be knowledge itself, which is the Creator Himself? So I don't think I don't think it's coming from that perspective. But I don't understand how, when you look at the intricacies of the human body, how you can believe it can
just
happen
happened by itself.
It doesn't make sense at all. It doesn't. I mean, I think one of the things that made me sort of really come close to God is when I held my first child in my hands, and I was like, how can you not believe in a Creator when you see how a baby is formed, and how it and how God creates it, and how it comes from the mother and the father. It's just there are no words for it. The science is just so obvious. It's it's like William Paley's watch theory, where he says, if you see a watch in the desert, you know that there is a watchmaker. It just didn't just appear. It makes no sense for it to appear, because it's not normal for it to just appear like that. Something as intricate as a watch, and the way it works and things. So when you see the human body and the intricacies of the human body, how can you not believe in a Creator? So that's why I'm saying I don't know whether it's the studies that is, although he's putting it down to the studies, I'd like to talk to him and ask him, what part is it that he's making him turn away from God and look at it more from a humanistic approach?
I think he said that I can't seem to get away from the secular ideas. So it might be, as you said, the discussions that he's having, the sort of scientific approach that people are taking, to evolution, etc., that goes against the Islamic teaching of
evolution. The whole concept of evolution in a certain extent is there.
Yeah.
The concept of the Big Bang again is there.
Yeah.
I mean, in Islam, we don't sort of say no to everything that science has come up with. We actually agree with it, but we say there is a creator behind it. So yes, there was a big explosion.
Yeah.
So yes, we agree there was a Big Bang.
Instigator,
but there was someone who instigated it, who is Allah. So Islam actually works really well with science.
Yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. I think he probably isn't able to marry the two, that science can come hand in hand with the religion, and actually you'll find that a lot of our prophets and Ahlul Bayt came up with a lot of the concepts that we are studying these days, and a lot of the historians have also done that.
Yeah, and looking at the Holy Quran as well, and again, if he's obviously he's very much an intellectual. So looking at the Holy Quran in a little bit more depth, knowing that this is something that even if you take the ideas of the non-Muslims who say it was written by the Holy Prophet, it was not sent by God. For a man to write the concepts that have been discussed in the Holy Quran about the fetus and things like that would make you think, wow, there's no way that could be written by a man. So actually going maybe into a little bit more depth, I think he needs to research into the religion a little bit more. He needs to,
like Dua Arafah, for example, has about all the different parts of the body, and you make whenever I recite that dua, I think it was written so many hundreds of years ago,
and yet
they knew all of it, before any of that scientific stuff had come into to play, and it just makes you think, okay, well, no, that means that religion has a big part to play in.
I mean, the fact that the Holy Quran talks about fingertips. It's only recently we've heard about how fingertips are individual to each, unique to each person.
Yeah.
That's only recently been discovered. Whereas the Holy Quran actually talks about the fact that when God resurrects us, He's going to resurrect us to our fingertips.
Oh, I didn't think I knew that. Okay.
So it's showing that each one of us will be as individual as we were then. It's not it's not something He's just going to resurrect everyone and everyone's going to be the same.
Yeah.
So it's showing that we are very, very unique, and it's all mentioned in the Holy Quran. It's so beautifully mentioned.
Yeah.
So maybe he needs to, actually proactively look at the Holy Quran, and look at the tafsirs of the Holy Quran. Try to look at the different theories that are out there to actually go right back to basics and prove to himself why there must be a God.
I think actually I have a book, I'm going to need to wrap up quickly because I'm coming to the end of the show, but I think I have a book about medicine and Islam. And I think there are many books out there that are similar to that title, which probably has both of what he's looking for. So maybe that's an idea.
But even going back to basics and actually sort of thinking, okay, why must there be a creator?
Yeah.
What does that create? Why must there be one creator?
Yeah.
So looking at all of that, and again, there's been lots of books written, by different people on these topics. So I think he needs to use his intellectual power to actually research these things as well.
Okay, thank you so much. That's something I'm going to do myself as well later today. But thank you so much for joining us once again. We've actually come to the end of our show, so thank you to our viewers once again for tuning in. You can email in with any questions you've got for Sister Masuma on hearttoheart@safiratv.com. Thank you once again. Assalamu alaikum.